everybody. I just wanted to say hi and let you know that I really miss you. I miss having you in class and being able to see you every day and be able to work with you and your crazy, awesome imaginations. I have set up this video as well as, ones for the next couple projects so that I can kind of walk you through it. It'll be something, hopefully easy for you to listen and follow and understand. I have 4 projects for you until the end of the semester. This one here in particular won't take you that long, neither will the next one, so please don't really stress too much. As long as they're handed in before the end of the semester, you can work ahead. If you fall behind, you can work kind of at your own pace. Honestly, I tried to make it as user-friendly as I could. I'd love to have online meetings with all of you, but I know that there's quite a few of you that maybe don't have internet, or just having troubles, getting, at the same time frame kind of schedule here. So you can play this whenever you want, watch it at your convenience, rewatch it, and then, just kind of let me know if you need help. If you email me, don't forget my email is under the C. Beeler one. So it's the C. Beeler. Okay, it's still under my maiden name. If you need anything, I've emailed you under that already. I've added you to the DigPhoto kind of email there. So if you need anything, please don't hesitate. And then I can also call you too if you need help. Okay, if you can't quite understand something, I will walk you through it. Okay, but I hope you're all doing well. I know it's a lot of work right now, and it's kind of frustrating transition for a lot of you. And everything's very different, but I'm doing my best to try to kind of give you some fun sort of assignments here and give you a little extra practice in Photoshop. Okay, so if you need anything, let me know, and take care. Stay healthy. Hi everybody, I hope you're doing well. Here's a project that I think you'll find really fun, and so hopefully something that will take you on a little adventure, maybe around your house or around the area where you live, like your neighborhood. This is going to be fun. So we are going to go out looking for letters that are hidden in objects. So for example, you could find something like this, like a tire here that can look like an O. You could find some apples and stack them into what looks like an H, if you need to, but we're looking for ones that are already existing, like the tire itself, maybe a tree branch that's already kind of twisted into what looks like an A. But like I said, if you need to and you truly can't find anything, you can sort of assemble a letter that would work for you. Okay, so as for the word itself that you're choosing to portray, that's entirely up to you. The setup is also up to you, whether you are going to choose something like black and white or color. That's also, something that you can use to your advantage. Here, for example, like in the very first letter and the last letter, they're using really high, areas of contrast. So they have really light lights, really dark darks. But you can also kind of spread out, the colors in terms of, visual elements of design. So here, if you're going to choose color, have maybe something a little bit of a darker tone here, like the blues, maybe the reds, and then a bluish green on the side, so they're evenly spaced out with your lighter colors here and here. That's something that you can also do in terms of design that will kind of space it out and add some visual interest. So like I said, that's entirely up to you, and I will explain how to set those up in Photoshop. But as you're kind of looking at these examples, start thinking about whether you want to portray them in black and white or color. Here's a really great example that was done a couple years ago at the school. This is a student who chose to do his first name. So this is Logan's. He found a really neat kind of variety of elements here throughout the school. One from a mural. He has here, you can tell the hidden letter in the actual, area here at the stairwell, and the way the actual railing overlaps with the kind of the guardrails on the side, I guess you could say, forms a really great A. Having the clock itself being the O. And then here again, he's using the L from a little stack of colorful things he found off to the side. Okay, so as you can see, the variety of objects that you can include within your work can also vary as well. So maybe you want to try assembling them in Photoshop, and once you see how they lay side by side, see what's effective, what's not. Maybe design-wise, you need more contrast and you want to go back and find a different photograph. It's up to you. You can also kind of consider incorporating a theme, which would be fun. So the one up here on the very top, they've chosen to incorporate a theme so to speak. So they have kind of like things around like a barn or a farm. You know, they have kind of like this neat twisted looking like wire rope. They have like this little garden rake here, you know, little tools and things like that, and the end of a fence. So as they're assembling this, they're ending up with a really nice looking kind of like farm, more of like a country style, as opposed to the one on the bottom, which is still kind of a similar feel. They have flowers, measuring tapes, garden, you know, pieces and things, but it doesn't look as like countryish here, because at the top one they also have this horseshoe. But anyhow, I just wanted to show you the difference between the elements, and when you place them together, the R, for example, down here is adding a nice pop of contrast, okay, because there's really dark darks, really light lights, as opposed to something, you know, like the D on the end here, or even this M, which is a little bit lower contrast, okay, there's not as much of a difference between the lights and the darks. So maybe once you place them side by side, you'll realize, oh, you know what, I should go back and try to find like a different M to be more effective. You can also utilize one of the first things we had done together this semester, which was sort of fun, kind of using color as an accent. All right, so this one is one that was done last year of a student whose last name is Bauer. So she kind of went in, she took a photograph of, I think it was her friend's shoes maybe, so side to side it looks like a really nice bee. You can also consider using that tool like we had used before, like the color selection tool. So I think these shoes were actually blue on the edges, and she went to select color range. She chose the blue of the sneakers, and if you remember, you can click Alt Backspace and choose any color you want to fill these in. Okay, so that's how she was able to manipulate that bee using Photoshop to her advantage. Okay, same thing here with the background, using that selection tool with your actual color placement here. Okay, so they're selecting this whole background area around here. They went to the color fill. Okay, so once it was selected, they just did Alt Backspace once again. Okay, and then they turned down the opacity of that that layer. Okay, in the background. So what they did was they had two different ones going on here. They have the books here, which again they've also selected the book covers and kind of filled them in with a see-through sort of red to make it look like they were originally red books. Okay, here I think she actually formed this E from a piece that was like on a mural or something like that, and then the R at the end here was just kind of like considered like extra. Okay. Here we have some fun looking words. All right, this one here at the bottom, tennis is kind of a fun one. They use the letters from around the school. The tree here in particular is a great example of how to find like a really nice looking E. Okay, if you can see the branches here and here kind of coming into play, making a really nice E. Again, you can play with cropping to make what looks like here like a lowercase n. All right, so they've cropped this like E from the emergency exit sign outside. Okay, they have like the actual score over here of like the letter boards or the numbers on the tennis courts. Okay, looking like what is an S instead of a 5. The food. And once again, you can, you know, like I said, obviously totally create a different looking image depending on the colors of the letters that you, but I would like you to kind of take on the of, you know, choosing your words and your letters. Like I keep saying, I can't stress enough, it's up to you. Just be creative and try to portray them as fun as you can. All right, here's a really fun one. This one was Jordan's from last year. So here she has like a fun kind of looking J. So she has stretched over here her arms. She used a friend to make the O. She has a great one here with her hands, R, D, and then she has the Y. And then they even use little Mr. Roman over here as the stick for the N. So anyhow, these are some I wanted to point out to you that don't work as well. And I just wanted to briefly explain why, and then I'll let you go to work. So this one up top here, Connor, these letters are really kind of stretched and they're not quite cropped right in Photoshop. So if you notice on the instructions in Photoshop, you'll actually have kind of like a really nice demonstration of how to place them and crop them appropriately. So if you crop them first and you paste them into that final document, they will look so much better. Here, like for example, the lock is actually kind of like squished together in terms of like cropping, so it looks kind of messy. If you notice here, the actual like N, the spacing of the N is thicker than the other letters, so that doesn't look right. This E has a terrible amount of contrast. It's very, very low, so it's hard to make out what that is supposed to be. The N here is very curvy. It's creative, but it's very curvy, which makes it feel like it's an S, just kind of like tipped upside down. The next one down here, this word Blake, the B is very blurry. So again, that's very distracting. My eye keeps going back to that, thinking something's wrong. Again, here the L is also cropped way skinnier. If you notice, this letter, the L here is way skinnier than this whole thing that's just supposed to be the C. So you just want to kind of think about that, as well as these letters down here that are also cropped. This one here is also very dark. It's a good looking R, but it's very dark, so it's hard to make out. Okay, so those are some things to keep in mind. All right, also shadows can make great letters as well, so keep in mind some shadows as you're walking around. So for the online version of this class and the grading scale, we're going to be following a 4-3-2-1 grading scale here throughout the semester as we finish our last several projects, as opposed to the standard grading, which is state mandated. So I just wanted to explain really briefly here the rubric. If you earn an A4, it basically you're demonstrating mastery of the content. You have a nice demonstration of understanding of how to portray letters using things like contrast, cropping, using your creativity, and they're all placed side by side. Okay. If you're earning something like a 3, it's basically proving that you have a proficient understanding of the topic. Okay. Your images are taken. They're not blurry necessarily. Your photo is set up like correctly. Maybe there's a little bit of blurredness, or there's something that's not quite cropped right, but you've done a pretty nice job in general. If you're looking at earning something like a 2 in the grade book, please definitely ask me, or I will reach out to you and try to see if you need some help. But basically it's having something, that looks kind of messy. Your placement isn't, appropriate as far as like the last couple examples here that I showed you that weren't right. And then the last one is unsatisfactory, which is not a clear demonstration of understanding of the content. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to show you here on the next portion of this PowerPoint how to set up your document in Photoshop. You can either continue watching this now, it won't take long, or you can wait and take your photographs and then come back and watch it later. It's up to you. Okay, so here I'm going